Okay.
All right.
Listen,
welcome, everybody.
It is a free world.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And we're in for quite the show. Argentina are through to the knockouts, as are Poland, who they beat 2-0 on the night. Goals from Alexis McAllister and Julian Alvarez, following a missed penalty by Lionel Messi, a saved penalty by Wojciech Szczesny, should I say. It ended up being a huge moment for Poland and their goal difference, despite their loss in this game. But a completely dominant Argentina. Poland offering pretty much nothing, but still making it through to the next rounds. This is how Group C is shaping up now. Argentina finishing as winners. It was a massive turnaround after their opening day defeat. Mexico's 2-1 win over Saudi Arabia was not enough. At the conclusion of that game, Tata Martino's contract as Mexico coach has also been terminated. Poland through, and it's Mexico and Saudi Arabia who miss out. Let's welcome in Jan Argafiotov, but let me start with you, Ali Moreno. It was a really bad start for Argentina, but fair play to them, they completely turned it around.
Yes, they did. And today was potentially the best game they've had so far. Some changes that Scaloni made that I thought made a whole lot of sense was Enzo Fernandez started today. That gave some freedom in the midfield because he now became an outlet. Then you had Rodrigo de Paul higher up the field. That way, if he was turning the ball over, which he did again today, he was turning the ball higher up the field. As the inclusion for Julian Alvarez, I also thought that made a difference for Argentina because of his movement, sometimes playing opposite of Di Maria, sometimes playing down the middle. That ability of Julian Alvarez to move, the level of activity that he provides for this team in the final third also made a difference for Argentina. And then Messi having the free role to pick his spots and his spaces, where to pop in, where to play the ball through. Sometimes we saw Messi today, which we haven't seen a lot of him in this World Cup, running with the ball, running at defenders. Final product wasn't quite there, but from Argentina's perspective, this could have been a stressful performance, and it was not. A lot of that has to do with Poland, but give credit to Argentina, they've turned it around, and now they're in a good position going into the knockout stage.
Is this the Argentina, Frank, that we were expecting to see coming into this tournament?
Definitely. We were all disappointed by the two previous performances, but what they showed today is clearly a team who can make Xhaka change his prediction again. But yeah, I saw what I wanted to see. You know, stability, performances, and energy to go forward. And they had so many chances. I don't know, 23 shots, and they scored goals. And they were going forward. They were slow. It was absolutely what we were looking for. Yeah.
Is it enough to turn around your prediction that you've already turned around now against Argentina?
No, because I can't deal with this ribbing anymore. I'm sticking with my turnaround pick of Brazil. Listen, yes, I think without question this is Argentina's best performance. Saying that, I remember the concern after the Saudi Arabia game that this Argentina team was too young, and nothing about that performance or anything since could contradict that any further. You have Alvarez and McAllister at 22 and 23 years old being the goal scorers, being the difference makers in this game today. And Fernandez scoring the second goal against Mexico. And that's what you want to see from Argentina. I think that's when they're at their best. That's when Lionel Messi is at his best. When the talented players recognize their own talents and the roles that they have to play. My complaint around too many of Argentina's standout stars are that whenever they get the ball, it seems that their only thought is, where's Lionel Messi? How can I get the ball to him? When I think Messi benefits from those players playing their own natural games, stretching defenses, and providing those spaces in between the lines that Lionel Messi likes to drift into. If more of Argentina's players play as their youngsters have over the last couple of games, this is a team capable of going far. I'm just not that confident in some of their established talents to do that.
Yeah, and as for Poland, did Robert Lewandowski even need to be there today?
Well asked. I mean, Poland was very weak today. I know that they were lucky to go through. I also followed the other game with Mexico. Mexico were very close to get more goals. So Poland must see themselves lucky to go through today. And I think my favorite before the World Cup. Thank God Argentina have come back because the balance in the team is brilliant. But I think Lewandowski, now is the time, the knockout stages, you see we can take the teams in this World Cup between those who have passion, those who have not passion, those who have good goal scorers, those who have have goal scorers. And I think that Lewandowski now, coming into the knockout stage, will find himself again.
Frank, the penalty decision for Lionel Messi when Argentina got the penalty. What did you make first of that decision?
Well, for me, it was a farce, because he touches the ball is already away. So yes, there is a contact, but you cannot say that without that contact, Messi would have scored the goal because the ball was already gone. So I was told that because the ball is still on play, even if it's going somewhere outside, you have to consider that's a real foul and it's a penalty. If the law says that, you have to accept the law. But for me, it's kind of a joke, because nowadays it's like you cannot touch anybody. There is contact. Of course there is contact. It's a contact sport. But it cannot be punished every time.
Szczesny said afterwards that it was dreadful, awful and wonderful, and he felt that the game lasted 5 hours. It was a really important save, though, wasn't it, Szczesny?
Yeah, it was, and it was an outstanding save from Szczesny, a goalkeeper who is incredibly talented, if a little bit inconsistent. And I think that maybe is taking some of the shine off of exactly how good a goalkeeper he is. But he showed it all today, and Poland desperately needed it. If that game lasted 5 hours, the last 5 minutes had to last 4 hours and 55 minutes because everything was so on edge for Poland, who eventually go through, and of course in Mexico in the other game. Everything even in terms of goal difference, goals scored, the head-to-head. Poland had the edge in terms of conceding or receiving less yellow cards. That forced Mexico to go out and have to try to find a third against Saudi Arabia. Maybe that's why they conceded late on as they did. And of course, if Argentina had scored a third, Poland would be out. So there was just so much at play in those closing moments that 2 or 3 yellow cards could change who goes through and who doesn't. And it was thrilling. So from a Poland perspective, you understand why it feels as it did, and for Szczesny in particular, who by far was Poland's best player on the day, you do sympathize.
I have to tell you, honestly, watching Poland play today from a professional perspective was embarrassing. We've been critical of teams that have played not to lose. Well, Poland actually took a step further. Poland actually told those teams that were playing not to lose, hold my beer. Because they were playing not to lose, they were playing to lose, but by the least amount of goals possible. That, honestly, while it worked, and people would say, listen, they're through. Okay, I understand that in the end, this is a results business. But there was an opportunity for Poland to perhaps, at the very least, threaten, to maybe go on the counter. They said no to the counterattack right around, I would say, minute number 2. That was about it. They refuse the idea of engaging Argentina, and so now they're depending on Saudi Arabia, they're depending on Mexico, they're depending on Argentina not scoring goals because Argentina had multiple chances. Lautaro Martinez had a chance, Lionel Messi had a chance, they cleared the ball off the line. And so I assume that yes, it's great because they actually make it to the next round, but they don't deserve to be in the next round. The way they approached it was embarrassing.
Go on, Jan.
Yeah, I think we should criticize ourselves as well a bit, because when we have made the evaluation of Poland, we're only thinking of Robert Lewandowski. But if you have a clear look at the squad of Poland, if you go through the players they have on the bench, what they can put in and what they have in the team, they have Zielinski, of course, playing for Napoli. He's doing well there. But they have Lewandowski. And I think that before this World Cup, we were I wasn't on Denmark, and we'll probably talk about that later. But Poland, if you have a look at their team, there's not many good players. So I think that there's a lot of playing hiding themselves behind Lewandowski. There was nothing to say. I agree with Al. Today they were terrible. But they are not much better than they are. I mean, Mexico, as good as Poland, maybe they should have passed them. And I think that we have to criticize ourselves a bit, Al.
But Xhaka, why are you not convinced to change your mind again on your original pick, Argentina?
For all the reasons I've been expressing for the last few days, I have concerns about Argentina and
Still after this game.
Too many of their players not willing to play their own natural games in this team. And again, when Saudi Arabia asked questions of Argentina that they weren't expecting, they weren't able to adjust. You contrast that, and I know we could level maybe a similar criticism around France today, but they made a ton of changes. I know Frank will get to that later on. And similarly, Brazil, who are yet to play their third game, of course. But you just feel that those two teams, France and Brazil, and if everything goes according to plan, Argentina meet Brazil in the semi-final. And maybe we see how that fares. But I just feel Brazil are better equipped for somebody who throws up something that they're not expecting. That an adjustment is needed. That game management is needed. I just don't think Argentina has shown that.
And how is that different than when we started the tournament? Because when we started the tournament, you were picking Argentina.
I was picking Argentina, one, because I thought, given the run that they were on, they were better equipped, or certainly playing most of the players playing with more confidence than you'd seen so far. And just keeping in mind, I really feel that Argentina's kind of big hurdle was going far in tournaments, going all the way in tournaments, I should say, not far, not just far, but going all the way in tournaments. And then they proved that they could in the Copa America. And I just felt I expected so much more from Argentina. Now, keep in mind, they go through top of the group, absolutely, and that's to be applauded. You can make the comparisons with Spain 2010. Absolutely, you can do that. But as we look at this group, and again, with some of those concerns, you lose to Saudi Arabia, and then you beat two teams who are there trying to on damage limitation for 90 minutes. Mexico and Poland had no interest in winning the games. They were just there on damage limitation exercises, and those are the two games. So I don't think those two tests have disproved my concern that Saudi Arabia raised in the first.
What I think it was important from Argentina's perspective today was the fact that, okay, Lionel Messi misses a penalty. Szczęsny makes a save. We have seen this before from Messi in a World Cup against Iceland in 2018, where he missed a penalty and then he went hiding. He went missing the rest of the game. That wasn't the case today. And the fans themselves, he misses a penalty, and the fans, you could hear, Messi, Messi. They know how important, how critically important Messi is for this team. And not only for the team in terms of results, but for the team so that you have those guys that you just mentioned actually play a more important role. So I thought it was critically important as well from Argentina's perspective today that when they scored the goals today, it wasn't because Messi was involved. It's Nahuel Molina who plays the ball back to McAllister. So there's no Messi involvement there. It's Julian Alvarez with a good turn inside the 18-yard box and finishing those chances. The fact that they're not depending on Messi, which we saw in the Saudi Arabia game. When things went south in the Saudi Arabia game, they're looking around like, okay, where did he go? Where's Messi? Where's Messi? Where's Messi? That wasn't quite the case today. And that, I think, sets up Argentina for success late into this competition.